Okay, welcome back to Game Programming with Unity. Now, this is our last section in the first chapter, and it's going to be short, and this is the fun part. This is where you actually get to run the game. So I've loaded up a little scene here, and we're going to build this scene later on in some of the later lessons. What I want to do is just show you what happens when we run the game, right? Because we've spent all this time setting things up and writing scripts and dealing with inputs. How do we play the game, right? We need to test out how the game plays. So this is what we have our little play button up here for. Right over here to the left hand, I have my scene view. So what's going on in my scene here? I'm seeing that I can move around and manipulate the scene in 3D. And what's happening on the right hand side is the viewport through which I'm going to see the game. Right? So this is the game view on the right hand side, but nothing's happening. There's no action yet. And there's no action yet because I'm not actually actively running the game. I have the game set up and ready to go, but I'm not running it. So it's not checking for inputs. It's not reading anything that I've scripted. It's just kind of sitting there idle and static. So in order to run this game, and I've put a little bit of a control script on this guy that we're going to do later that uses the arrow buttons to move him around the environment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on play. And the minute I hit play, all the stuff happens that it goes into the running and building of the game, and you can see that moving my keys now moves the character around, and he can be moved around, and this can be manipulated on the left hand side. You just got to click in to make it active, one of these two views active. So on the right hand side, I'm manipulating the game controls, and I'm seeing the game through the game camera, and on the left hand side, I'm seeing the scene and what's happening in the scene based on whatever view perspective that I want to see. So you can see that I'm changing the parameters while the game is running. Now, if I hit pause, the game won't stop, right? It won't reset itself. It'll just freeze for a minute while I do whatever it is that I need to do. And then if I hit pause again, the game will continue exactly where it left off. Now, if I hit our end button here, if we have something in our game that controls the end of something, then this button right here will actually take us to that end point. But because we don't have that in here, when I click on the end point, it just basically pauses it. Right, so when you are playing the game, or in order to play this game, what you have to do is make sure that you click on the play button. Now, if I click on the play button, stop the playback, it will reset itself to wherever it was before I started playing. So then I click on play again, and now everything has been reset. So that's just a little bit of how we actually run the game, you know, how we compile all the scripts and actually run and check for inputs and all those things. That's when we actually click on the run game. So we can pause it. It'll pause him in the position where he is. Or if I unpause it and turn play off, it will reset the entire game to wherever it was before we hit the play button. So anything we do while hitting the play button, and this is a really important thing to remember because there are so many times that you will mess around with parameters and get them dialed in just perfectly while you're editing and playing the game, and then you'll cease to retain those changes because they are not saved, and they are not savable in the game while you're playing the game. When the game is being compiled, all of those changes come from the live update, and not from the parameters you put in over here on any aspect of the inspector. So if I change any of this stuff, see how I'm changing the positions of these cubes, and I turn the game to stop or turn the play off, you'll see they'll all jump back to their original positions. And that's just because whatever we do while the game is being played is considered kind of a debug thing. You know, we're making changes to parameters for testing purposes, but we always want them to spring back to where they were when we hit the play button. And now, oftentimes you'll want to retain these pieces of information or these changes, and what I generally tend to do is write them down and make sure I know which ones I'm changing. You know, I don't have to go randomly changing parameters without knowing exactly what I'm changing, so that I can go back when the game is not running and make those same changes.